All right, guys. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 ways that people fail as coaches or in coaching itself. Now, as a faculty member, I teach a lot of students around the world. And what I found is that these people are passionate, skilled, have tremendous expertise, but where they lack is in their structure, their delivery, and the systems that allow them to be able to convey that powerful information in a way that allows them to become successful in their business. Because so many of these coaches are talented, but they're not doing well financially. So here are my 5 tips as to how you can improve and to no longer fail as a coach. So the first one is just to be an embodied leader, or in what's called embodied leadership. Now, what does that look like? What does that really mean? So to be embodied, we have to exude these incredible powers that you see leaders naturally have. So they're known in the Native American culture as leaders that have what's called big medicine or original medicine. Now, to embody effective leadership means to first of all have presence. So presence itself means that when you walk into a room, you're enigmatic, you're charismatic. So you affect the room that you're in. And if you're truly a good leader, what happens is when you walk into a room, you change it. Just because you're in the room, your frequency. Now, you guys see this all the time when you see a performance, one of your favorite artists, whether it's a legend like Elton John or Rolling Stones, or any of these powerful, Michael Jackson when he was still here, any of these powerful performers, when they come onto the stage or into a room, their energy changes the room, the atmosphere changes because of them. So this is an example of presence. So one of the ways to build presence, first of all, obviously, is to have self-love, to have self-confidence, and to truly live in your own power and your own potential, knowing that you're good and accepting that, not arrogance, but total self-assuredness. So this is how you create presence. So again, you can work on this by creating mantras, affirmations, and just trusting, observing how good you are at what you do, knowing that you are absolutely really talented and skillful, and just living in that reality. So this is one way you can improve presence. Now, the next form of embodied leadership in these 3 powers is communication. So what's truly important with communication is what's called effective communication. So this means tonality, rhythm, pace, timing whenever you're talking. So when you talk, you have space between your words, you have pauses so that people can understand or process what you've explained. So if you talk 100 miles an hour, you'll get people to hear, but they're not really listening. And when you pause, you're allowing people to understand. So think about a comic or comedic act takes timing and punctuation. So you'll deliver a line, you'll pause at the right point to then get people to laugh. So this is effective communication or delivery. Think about poetry, how it's done in a specific way, in a specific pattern. And if you do it correctly with the correct timing, the punctuation, the shifting in tone of your voice, this elicits the emotional responses that you want. So these are examples of effective leadership. So like I say, talking with enough pace that you keep people interested, but not too fast where they can't digest it, with adequate pauses when you come in to deliver your content so people can actually process. It's also about not being blunt. So being able to communicate information in a way that's not too blunt or hurtful because people back off. So if you're a coach and you need to tell someone that they're overweight, you don't want to say, yeah, you're overweight, by the way. Obviously that's not blunt. You would find a different way to communicate that information so they can understand the gravity of that problem that they have. And so the better you get at communicating, because obviously coaches deal with a lot of stuff. Maybe someone was abused, or someone needs to improve their performance, or someone might get fired from a job if they don't reduce their back pain, or they have been told by a doctor that they need to get a calorific countdown or something. You're dealing with a lot of challenging problems. So you have to be able to communicate in an effective way to reassure people and to let them know that you can help solve their problems. Okay, So the third of these powers that create effective leadership is position. So position itself is, where do you stand? Now, this is more about you, not so much how you relate to people, but more about you. What do you stand for? How do you stand? And what are you willing to stand by? And most of this is more about, you mean what you say what you mean. The position you stand for also relates to you as a coach standing for your own values. If you want your clients to not drink alcohol and you drink alcohol, your position is not correct because you're speaking from a place that you do not follow. So your position is your value systems and how you stand up for yourself and the values that you place upon yourself and how high you hold yourself to a specific standard when it comes to being a coach and an example for others. So when you do these help to create effective leadership. What also creates effective, and I'm looking at my notes as well, just so I know what I want to talk about. What also helps is creating enough self-work so that you are delivering from a really high level. And part of this would be doing your morning rituals. And I always say to people, when we wake up in the morning, most people have routines, and routines are just habitual. They may not be good or bad, they're just what you do. But ritual, the word itself, makes you or evokes within you something that is sacred, something that is important. So if you're not doing this already as a coach, start to create a morning ritual that upholds you with certain criteria and value system within yourself that you can then impose upon your energetic field that people can feel. And then you can help deliver this information to your clients with sincerity because you're doing it. And so what does your morning ritual look like? It could be a cold shower. It could be stretching, doing some exercise, some affirmations, some deep breathing. What you might be doing is going outside and going for a walk. Whatever you're doing that allows you to be fully present and prepared, because morning rituals are all about how you prepare yourself for your day. And if you prepare yourself correctly, then your action phase of the day, which means when you're coaching and working with clients, will be better because you start your day preparing your own temple to support the clients who are trying to raise their profile, their energy, their vitality, because you are the bridge gap between them and success. Okay, so that's effective leadership. And so the next one we're going to talk about is charging more. Now, this is something that is the bane of so many coaches. From my point of view, my perspective, having spoken to literally thousands of coaches, they just don't charge enough. And they are experts that have trained for years and years and years, but charge based on budget. And a lot of this is because they compete with other trainers. And so their only criteria is, if I charge less but give a good service, I'll get clients. And I'm telling you, having worked with, like I said, hundreds and thousands of people, that this is actually creating stress. Because if you are working with someone, chances are you are changing their life. I'm going to say that again. If you're working with someone, chances are you're changing their life. You are doing so much work. If you get someone to lose £5, that is a game changer. That is priceless. If you get someone out of back pain, or somebody that's had IBS or Crohn's or diabetes or leaky gut, any form of challenge, these will change people's lives. So there has to be a value to that. It can't just be £25 an hour or something like that, because the value has to match the result. And so where you hurt yourself is where you charge less than the value. I know trainers, and I've had sessions where I talk to people in groups, and I remember one occasion where I was talking to a man who was spending an hour training his client and an hour researching for the training session, and then reading peer-reviewed studies to help work on this person's back pain, and charging £22.50 an hour. So that basically means for the 2.5, 3 hours of prep and the hour of training, you're charging £22.50. So you're probably charging £7, £8 an hour. You're skilled, you're a skilled professional, but you're charging like you're not. So, this truly hurts people. The other thing as well is when you charge less, there's a perception from your client that the value is low. Now, let me give you an example of this. If you walked into a car showroom and you saw an incredible car, let's just say an Aston Martin, in pristine condition from the outside, and you walked in, you had an expectation of what you think this car costs based on how well it looks and the performance it must have. But then if the person said to you, yeah, you can get this car for £3,500 or dollars, wherever country you're in right now, you'd be like, okay, what's wrong with the car? Because there's a perception of value placed on an item. So again, the same example, if you went into a showroom and you saw an incredible car and you said, how much does that car cost? And they said £150,000, you would assume this car is flawless. Why? Because the value determines, or the cost determines the value. And so when you charge less, you are doing yourself a disservice, because what you're saying to the client is, my skill set isn't very high. Think about cosmetic surgery. If you want to get the simplest thing done in cosmetic surgery, you're looking at thousands of pounds. So there's always an identity attached to that skill based on the price that it gives. So by charging more, what it does is it creates accountability also. Because when you charge more, the client has a specific expectation of a value or a service. And so it means that you have to deliver on that service, and the client's expectations of the service is high. So both of you start with this very high bar. So stop charging less, start to increase your rates, because the perception of value changes. Okay, so next point, again, just checking my notes on one time here. So the next thing I want to talk about is the third point. So the third way to stop yourself from failing as a coach is to charge for the result. So just kind of extending from the previous point, many coaches, teachers, trainers, healers, therapists, practitioners, whatever name you're using, they charge you for single sessions. It's, let's just say, £50 an hour, £50 for 1 hour. Not for the session, even though I know the session's an hour, but hear what I'm saying here. You're charging £50 for an hour. Now, first, the problem with that. Your client's coming to you with an expectation of what they're going to accomplish. You've given yourself a time slot to accomplish it. So let's say you have written out 15 things that you want the person to do in this hour. And let's say you start talking and all this sort of stuff. There's distractions, maybe the phone rings, whatever it is. And you're 55 minutes into the session, you've only got halfway through. What do? Well, it's only an hour. You've only paid for an hour. So you've only got one more thing we can do right now. We've got to fit it in this 1 hour. So what my point here is time itself, rather than session, creates restriction, because your client and you both know it's 1 hour. So your client, from their point of view, might be saying, well, we've only done 10 things. We've got 5 more things to do. There's 3 minutes left on the clock. What are we going to do? So it creates a stress, straight away, because you are monetizing hours. Now, if you change that and said, it's £50 per session, well, then there's no resistance to, okay, what time does the session end? Because the session is based on achievement. I have this exercise routine and we'll get this done in this session. It may take 65 minutes or 75 minutes or 72 minutes, but you both know they paid for the session. And so it's far more relaxed straight away. So that's the first one. Let's get this charging per hour thing out of the way, because it just doesn't work. It's too stressful. Okay, the next thing. No one is buying time, really, when it comes to what they're really looking for. They're looking for a result. And so time itself is what you're allocating to create a result. Let me say that again. Time is what you are allocating to create a result. So the client comes in, using the first example, and they expect that in that 1 hour time slot that they're going to get a certain result. That result might be reduction of pain in their shoulder or their neck or their knee, or to get a sweat if they're exercising, or to feel incredibly calm if they're going through a meditative practice or hypnotic session. They are expecting a specific result. You're charging for time, but they're expecting a result. They're not saying, I can't wait to go and do my hour today. They're saying, I can't wait to do my hour to get this particular result at the end of it. So we are all buying into a result. If you buy a car, you're not buying time. It's not £15,000 for a time in a car. You're buying the car. The car is the result. If you put £15,000 down to buy a car, you're buying a result. The result is ownership of the car. If you're buying a house, you're not buying the house for 6 months. You're buying it for life. You're buying ownership of the house. So we are all looking for results. So first of all, stop charging for your time. Charge for the result. Now, the second part of this is if a client comes to you and they have a specific pathology or a problem or challenge, which is why they come to you in the first place, and you charge for time, does that time mean they will get the result? No. Give me an example. Someone comes to me and say, right, I want to lose 30 pounds. And you say, okay, it's going to take 6 months, but yet you charge them for one single session. Yeah, it's £50 an hour. What is the point of charging them for one single session when they need to work with you for 6 months to get the result of what they've come to you for? So why not just charge for the result? Okay, you want to lose 30 pounds. It's going to take you 6 months. And within that 6-month period, we're probably going to see each other twice a month or twice a week or whatever it is. So the result of that 6 months is this cost. A little bit different, right? You're paying for the end result. Now, same thing if somebody comes to you with shoulder pain and you say, right, based on the pathology of the shoulder pain, it's going to take 12 sessions because you've done this for many years. You know how long it typically takes to clear this pathology. So you charge them for the result. Say, right, so it's going to be about 12 sessions or 3 months or whatever. So here's the rate to fix this type of injury. So now you're charging for the result, not the time. And so now you don't have to keep having the discussion about how many sessions you got left because you're charging for the result. So, summary on that: stop working with people for 1 hour. Stop working with people for 5 hours. Work with people for an end result and charge accordingly for that result. What's the result of reduced back pain worth to you? It's priceless. Okay, here's a fee. What's the result of losing 50 pounds or 30 pounds? Okay, this is the fee. And so you can work as often as you need to get that result for that client. Okay. I always say this, and I want to just end this again. Like if somebody says to you, I want to get a flat stomach, and you say, okay, let's pay for one session a week. Can you get a flat stomach for someone in one session? No. So what's the point of charging them for one session? Why? What's the point? Can you get someone to lose 20 pounds in one session? No. So why are you charging for one session? Charge for the result. All right. So point 4, fourth tip, or fourth way that coaches fail. The goal here is to always be in service. So the failure is they're not in service. What does that mean? It means that when it comes to your marketing and your branding, if you are a practitioner that has multiple skills, like you do soft tissue work, you're able to train people, you do nutrition for them, you do energetic healing, you do counseling, you have multiple skills. What is it that you actually do? What is the one thing that all of those skills allow you to do for your client? You might say, I don't know. Well, is it to reduce emotional pain? Is it all of your stuff is based on pain prevention? Or is it performance? Is it productivity? What's the one thing that you're doing all these skills to create? What's that one result that we spoke about earlier? What's the one thing that everything you're doing is moving you towards? You need to know this, because if you market based on your skills and you have multiple skills, you are talking to everyone. And one of the things I always teach my clients is if you're talking to everyone, you're in fact talking to no one, because no one knows what you really do. All they know is the skills that you have. And again, nobody's really interested in what you do. They're interested in the result of what you do. Let me say that again. Nobody's interested in all the skills that you have or what you do. They are interested in the result of what you do. So I do X, Y, and Z to create this result within you. So be in service means to figure out what's the one thing that you want to accomplish for any of your clients. Once you figure that one thing out, market it, fine tune it, and brand it. Now, think about this. Someone like Tony Robbins, everybody knows what he's associated with. He's a life coach. He's got multiple skills, but what he creates is transformation. So all people know, if you want to get transformation, go to Tony. It's the same with anyone. Like if you want to be successful, you go to a specific person like Warren Buffett. He's got 92 companies or something like that, but he is about helping you make money. So there's one particular thing that he's known for, it's making money. So what is it that you do? If you just lead with, I'm a therapist, I'm a chiropractor, I'm an osteopath, I'm a massage therapist, I'm an acupuncturist, and what you're doing is you're talking about your skills. No one cares about your skills. What they care about is the result that your skills will deliver for them. So market that, brand that, niche it. And then everyone can relate to you as being that person. Because once you start talking about one thing that you do really, really well, you want to become known for that one thing so that whenever someone says your name, they know what that relates to. Oh, Barry, yeah, he's the knee guy. He's the knee specialist. Okay, you've got many other skills, but you're known for this. So that anytime someone has a knee problem, they can relate your name to the knee problem. So now you're creating what we call preeminence. You're the expert in this particular scenario. So people want to come to you. But again, if you say, but I do more than that, yes, they'll figure that out once they come to you. But you need to be niched so that everybody knows that they can come to you for that particular result. Now, your result can be wider. It can be you help people get out of pain, and there could be multiple avenues of pain. But it still needs to be a niche that you let people know that that's what you're good at, getting people out of pain. Or you're intuitive. You're able to discern what people need in their life, or you're someone who helps people to build businesses, or you're someone that improves productivity, or whatever it is. Okay, so be in service. And then number 5, the final tip to stop failing as a coach is stop doing one-to-one coaching only. Okay, and I want to be clear on that. That doesn't mean don't do one-on-one coaching. It means stop that being the only thing you do. Because let me give you a scenario. I'm sure you want to change the world to some degree. You want to change as many people as possible. How much energy do you think you have? Some of you may have children. Some of you may be busy. Most of you probably are busy. How many people can you realistically see in a week? 40 people? Okay, so you see 40 people a week and you rotate those same 40 people. Great, you're affecting 40 people's lives. That's really, really good. But how much has it taken out of you? Because I'm telling you, as a coach, 40 hours a week, there's prep before, there's write up after, there's the energy that each one of those people has to be managed by you. Their energy has to be managed by you. It weighs on you. So it's so much more than just 40 hours. So just on the prep before and the write-up after, with 40 clients, you're probably looking at 55, 60 hours of work. And because of the energy it takes to manage each personality, that is tremendously challenging. So let's just say you could manage these 40 people. You're affecting 40 people, great. What if you were able to do group work and reach hundreds of people in each coaching session for 1 hour of your time? And you might think, well, how do I teach groups? Well, if you teach individuals, do what you teach to one to many. It's called one to many. So just teach the same thing that you teach one person, create lesson plans for it, scale it, and teach it to many people. And that way it's 1 hour of your time for many people to get the same information at a lower cost for them. So it's easier for them to do it, and overall a higher cost for you because more people are doing it for less of your time. It's the best way to do things. So you can do your one-on-one, but try to also do group work, and you'll become far more productive. You'll affect far more people, which will create far more fulfillment for less energy and give you more time back so you can spend with your family, your friends, and your loved ones. That's a win-win for everyone. Right, so hopefully you got some really good tips out of this, and like it, share it to others that you feel need this guidance. And if you want to know more, if you want to stay in touch and connect with my community, somewhere around this video, there's a link to sign up to my newsletter where I create specific targeted newsletters based on themes. So the way I do this is Once you join the newsletter, you'll be asked one of 3 questions and it'll move you into a specific group. So I'll only send you information that's specific to your needs. And failing that, if you want to go further than that, I should say, then you can sign up to, and then failing that, or should I say, progressing past that, if you want to get deeper into my work and learn far more, because I'm only touching the surface here, you can join one of my group mastery mentorship programs that allows you to go deeper. I do a 6-week group coaching program called Ascension and a 6-month group coaching program called Expansion. And again, the link is around here somewhere. If you want to sign up or learn more about those, you better click one of those links. All right, guys, until next time, stay healthy, happy, whole, in whole being health. Peace.